Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2025 World Series of Poker. This is the 25K Heads Up Champion and we are heads up. The final round, Artur Martirosyan against Aliaksei Boika. They are playing for a $500,000 first place prize and of course, the coveted WSOP gold bracelet. These two players started as part of a field of 64 of the best heads-up players in the world. They navigated their way all the way through, and they are just about at the finish line, guaranteed $300,000, looking to secure $200,000 more. These are two of the best heads-up players in the world. Martirosyan going for his third gold bracelet, Boika looking for his first. This is going to be quite the match we have ahead of us. Here you see the tournament format presented by Splash Sports. 30-second shot clock will be in play. The winner of this match takes it all home. And we have Natalie Bodie there on set. She's going to bring us in with these two players.
Down to the final two in the 25K Heads Up Championship. Going to catch up with each of our finalists here. But Alexei, I'm going to start with you. Specifically in your semifinal matchup, you had a little bit more time, a little bit more of a break before you sat down here today against Artur. What did you find most important to prioritize during that break?
I just had a good rest and watched the other match.
Go from there?
Yeah.
And you are in pursuit of your first World Series of Poker bracelet today. When you think about that, especially in a prestigious event like this one, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I really like this tournament, this format. It's kind of unique. So I came to practice heads-up game, and it was definitely a very interesting experience. And I'm very happy that it turned so well. So that's already a win for me. Happy to be here.
Already a big success, like you mentioned, to make it to this point. It's been a grueling few days. Artur, I'm going to start with this. I mean, it's potentially your third World Series of Poker bracelet. An achievement like that, you enter some rarefied air. When I say that, and when you think about that possibility, what would it mean to you to obtain bracelet number 3?
I think I will be happy. Yeah, this is my favorite tournament because I love to play heads up. So I have one bracelet from Heads Up tournament already. So yeah, and I'm happy to be here with my friend. So let's play and we will see who will be stronger.
Hey, and you mentioned it, you already won a bracelet in a Heads Up event before, that one of course online, now a chance to do it live. So we appreciate the time from both of you. Best of luck. Go ahead and shuffle up a deal. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck, bro.
Thank you for that, Natalie. You guys heard the words there, shuffle up and deal. The cards will be in the air for the final match of the $25,000 buy-in heads-up championship here at the 2025 World Series of Poker. My name is Donnie Peters. I got Tristan Wade alongside of me. Appreciate you guys tuning in, no matter where you are watching from, no matter where you are tuning in.
And we have,
if you're on PokerGo, we appreciate you. If you're on the PokerGo YouTube channel,
4.8 million stack, yeah.
we also appreciate you equally. Let's rock and roll.
Okay.
What's up, crew? You hear the guys playing heads up? They seem familiar with each other, like they're friends.
Yeah, I think they're buddies.
And they're playing 240 big blinds deep to start for the first 20 minutes.
In the last round, if you guys missed it earlier today, Artur Martirosyan defeated Patrick Leonard to get here to the final. And Aliaksei Boika took down David Chen. Boika's match lasted just over 30 minutes, so he got in there. Got things done right away, and he moved on. And you heard him talk with Natalie ahead of time. He spent the break watching the other match, so maybe a little bit of more information coming to this one. But as you mentioned, Tristan, these guys seem like they are pretty familiar with each other.
Yeah, and first match, we have quite the cooler. Top pair, good kicker against bottom 2, and bottom two is typically a hand you want to play very fast to protect and get value. You don't block the top pairs that will call you, and your hand's a little vulnerable to certain runouts. So I expect to see a raise here if we're following GTO standards. Could it be all over in one hand, Donnie? Just kidding.
I mean, it could be. You know, crazier things have happened in poker. I would expect no, but you never know.
Again, first hand, there is some dynamics here, and we are going to see, it looks like, just a slow play from bottom two.
Boika coming with the call. This pot climbs up over 200,000. 6 of hearts on the turn.
So the idea here is if you're going to slow play a big hand like this on the flop, you're going to go for future value in the form of a check raise. So I would say if Artur bets here, maybe there's some delayed aggression coming from Boika's corner. And Artur has a strong enough hand that he can keep betting. He can get called by a jack. He can get called by worse aces. But now, in the face of an over-the-pot bet, let's see how Boika responds, because his hand is still strong enough to put more money in here. But now Artur's basically saying, look, I got something really good, or I'm just bluffing. So you might want to just keep giving him rope to bluff here in this line. But still, 2 pairs strong enough to raise here by any means, Donnie.
Boika does come with the call option. 5 of clubs on the river. That keeps things clean for Boika. His 2 pair remains best. He checks over to Martirosyan. Let's see if Martirosyan wants to go for what he might perceive as some more value here.
It's possible he could for probably a smaller size, but when you bet over the pot on the turn and you get called, the ranges are going to be a lot closer, right? Your opponent's going to have something good. So if he doesn't think like a worse ace, like an ace 4, an ace 3, an ace 2, an ace 8, an ace 9, will ever give him action on the river. Nope, he does go for value. And
about
I just
3/4 pot here.
And look, Boika, you played this to perfection. Now, do you really want to raise with your 2 pair? It's a little harder to navigate, but this pot has swelled to 100 big blinds in the middle if called. And I just don't think there's any folding. I mean, yeah.
And there is the call. Ace-10 announced from Martirosyan, but that is second best here. Boika's going to table his 2 pair. And he takes a very sizable pot right out of the gate. Gets up over 5.8 million, taking $1 million off of Martirosyan there.
Yeah, that hand could have played out many different ways, but great start for Mr. Boika.
Shout out to all of our PokerGo subscribers who are watching this final round on PokerGo.com. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in every single day, all summer long, right through July 16th. Every day from the World Series of Poker here in Vegas. For those of you watching on the PokerGo YouTube channel, shout out to y'all as well. If you would be so kind, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want everything from the World Series of Poker, then you got to subscribe to PokerGo.com. If you want select streams, some will appear on the PokerGo YouTube channel, but it does benefit you guys to subscribe to the PokerGo YouTube channel. It's free, and then that way you can get notifications as to when we go live. Top pair here for Boika. Pretty small pot, though.
Notice he did check back the flop. We have seen that from some of our contestants. But you don't want to check back too much with top pair in a heads-up match. Boika really considering this one, and he does, Donnie. Double check back with top pair.
Backdoor diamonds do come in with that 5 of diamonds completing the board on the river. Martirosyan's left with just queen high.
Check.
He comes with the check. Now I would imagine it's time to bet.
Yes.
And bet for value.
I would think so. Even though flush comes, I mean, you have one of the best hands you're going to get to the river with checking, right? So, but you know, who knows? Maybe Boika's just a nit, and we don't know. We saw him, you know, kind of slow play 2-pair in the first hand. Who knows how he plays? I don't. He has had some good results.
125.
That's going to just take it. But yeah, Aliaksei, am I saying that right? I hope so. Donnie and I tried to get his first name right.
Aliaksei, I
Aliaksei, yeah, I think that's right. Aliaksei. But he's had 4 of his 6 biggest scores this year, Donnie, in Triton events and some other events, all qualifying for over $250,000, so $250K or more, with 6th place in the 100K Triton main event in March. So, I mean, not new to poker by any means. He's been playing since 2010, but he's had a lot of success recently. And here we see him in the Gucci jumpsuit. Gucci from head to toe, playing heads up for his first bracelet?
Yeah, Boika is playing for his first gold bracelet. Martirosyan is playing for his 3rd. Martirosyan won a flip and go at WSOP Paradise. He won an online heads-up bracelet as well. The online heads-up bracelet
from GG.
Yeah,
that doesn't count.
What?
You
$10,000 buy-in? Come on, that's got to be super tough.
Okay, whatever. You got to be in person at the WSOP. Come on, you know how it is. My bracelet in Europe doesn't count. Remember?
Okay. Well, I mean, listen. if you say it doesn't count, that's your own prerogative.
Big confrontation here in 2 high equity hands, top pair, and then the nut flush draw with an overcard.
Martirosyan does bet 65K here, 65 into 100 after Boika checked. Boika has that top pair.
Sorry.
It's a call from Boika. 8 of clubs on the turn.
Check.
I mean, in terms of body language visuals, Artur just seems way more comfortable. Now, who am I to judge? But yeah, we'll see as the match progresses.
Bet is 300,000.
$300K here from Martirosyan.
You have top pair. You don't love it because the board's dicey, but your opponent should maybe keep bluffing with a 9X, a 10X, diamonds for sure. I mean hearts, excuse me, hearts for sure.
Boika comes with a call. Another big pot between these two early on in the match. River pairs the board with another 8.
Check.
Check from Boika.
Check.
Check back from Martirosyan. Boika's going to win this one.
Sorry, could you say 10 seconds or 5 seconds, something? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, look, the card distribution in Martirosyan's match against Pads was heavily swayed in his favor.
20 pre-flop, 30 post-flop, right?
Now, in just the first few hands, we see Boika reaping all the benefits of the deck.
Yeah, pretty quickly, just a few hands in, Boika shoots up to 6.3 million, right about a 2-to-1 chip lead over Martirosyan. But Martirosyan still pretty deep. 160 big blinds for him. So don't think that we're just going to get out of here super quick. This one's likely going to last quite a while. So get comfy, grab a snack, maybe some popcorn if that's your thing, a couple beverages, and enjoy the show. 10-8-5 here with 2 clubs. Boika continues to connect early. He gets a pair of 8s, middle pair here.
Yeah, both players super deep, even though we do see Boika pulling ahead. I think it's more of a testament to the variance of heads up and also how people's play styles are. We saw Martirosyan, you know, really making playing big pot poker, right? When he had a value hand with ace-10, he went over bet on the turn, big bet on the river. Even there when he was semi-bluffing with his ace-4 of hearts, we saw an over bet on the turn. So yeah, these guys aren't following the Daniel Negreanu small ball way of playing poker. These guys are blasting, which, you know, will make fun heads up for us. Boika once again checking back value hands that could totally be getting value. And he's just going for one street, it seems, on rivers. And Martirosyan with a hand that could just block bet here, but he's going to try to get to showdown with bottom pair. And he's not going to love when his opponent bets the river. And I imagine this will be a hefty bet towards the region of the size of the pot.
$100K out there. Action is on Boika.
That is 75,000.
75K is the wager.
Pure bluff catcher for Artur. And you got to ask, what would my opponent check all the way down with? They could obviously bet a 7. They could have a weak 8, but Artur's going to pay it off. And now, if I'm in Artur's shoes, right, and I see my opponent check back a hand like Jack-8 there twice, I'm going to register that, and now I'm going to adjust to maybe my check calling strategies on the river. If he's going to check back that strong of a hand twice, maybe I don't need to be as balanced calling with ace highs or bottom pairs to bluff catch on the river.
Tournament summary presented by Oats Overnight. This is event number 7 of the 2025 WSOP. There were 64 entries in this one. Prize pool up over $1.5 million. 500K first place prize is what these guys are playing for. Artur Martirosyan defeated Patrick Leonard in the semifinal round. Aliaksei Boika got through David Chen. Each of these players has locked up $300,000. Of course, the prestigious WSOP gold bracelet also will be awarded to the winner. For Boika, it would be his first. For Martirosyan, it would be his third.
Loving the look, loving the shades, the jumpsuit, the posture. We're locked in, Donnie. We're dialed in, trying to win the first WSOP bracelet. Ace King suited here. Come on, baby. These hands you just dream of.
That is 50,000.
But other people dream of 7-5 of clubs. This is a hand that could do some 3-betting, never folding.
225.
And there is the 3-bet path from Martirosyan up to 225K.
Music to Boika's ears. I mean, we're just pumping this up, right, Donnie? There's no other question here. There's no slow playing ace king suited heads up. We're trying to pile more money in here, right? So what size are we going to see? It's a 4x.
550.
550.
So almost a 4x, 4.5x 3-bet, and we see about a click. Not a click, but, you know, 550 from 225. Sheds the 7-5 suited.
Quick fold out of Martirosyan, and just like that, he's below 3 million in chips. These players both began with equal stacks of 4.8 million, and it has been all Boika since the first card was dealt in this final round.
And I'm a little maybe surprised to think that he didn't think about that with 5-7 suited, because I know if it was 6-7 suited or 7-8 suited, those probably want to take a flop, even though it's a 4-bet pot, because your opponent's still going to have ace king, ace queen, and then some, you know, high card bluffs. So your hand plays really good with board coverage there. 7-5 suited kind of plays similarly. So I was a little surprised that we didn't at least see some, you know, consideration to maybe continue but maybe in his mind he just says, look, this is a nutted 4-bet range. I'm kind of a little outside of my range, so I'm just gonna pass and not continue. So maybe that was a logic.
Second. 50,000.
Ace, king, 8. Martirosyan finally outflops Boika.
Right?
He finds an 8 there.
$150,000.
Overbet here from Boika, really trying to put a lot of pressure on Martirosyan. 150K into 100.
These are those board textures we talked about in the other round. And look, it sheds bottom pair just like that. And that's what that bet is designed to do.
If you want to watch the World Series of Poker entirely from start to finish, then subscribe to PokerGo.com. Included in that will be daily WSOP main event broadcasts. The main event is airing on PokerGo July 2nd through 16th. Subscribe now at PokerGo.com. Don't forget to punch in that promo code WSOP25YT so that you can get $20 off your first year. And all annual subscribers get entered in to win a seat in the PGT $1 Million Championship.
Another big confrontation of two very strong hands heads up. Obviously, ace-king dominating.
Yeah, and once again, it's Boika with,
Yep.
with the better of the two hands.
Raise to 200,000.
And like I said, so much variance in heads up because it's just one-on-one. You have to fight. You have to play pots. So Artur might feel like he's getting run over a little bit, but he knows better. He's just going to stay the course. And, yeah, let's see 3.
Martirosyan calls. He has position on this hand. Queen, Jack, Deuce. Rainbow with a single spade out there. Martirosyan takes the lead, flopping a pair of jacks. He's got backdoor spades as well.
100 denomination chips. I need the big stack at each table, serving up all the hundreds. That's the person with the chip lead at your table, not necessarily the person with the most.
We got the 600 no-limit hold'em going on in the back.
10 seconds.
Boika debating if he should check or bet this flop. I think either is fine.
That is 400,000.
And we see Donnie pot bet here. And King Jack has no problem with this. Granted, your opponent's already starting to tell a very credible story, but with second pair, plentiful backdoor draws, we just continue and see what our opponent's gonna do on the turn.
1.2 million in the middle. 6 of spades on the turn. That gives Martirosyan a flush draw now to go with what is the best hand currently, a pair of jacks.
Very interesting to see how Boika wants to continue after betting full pot on this flop. He looks immediately uncomfortable to me when the turn landed, but again, that's just my own opinion.
It's check.
Okay, I guess Artur like snap checked before we could even get the camera on him.
Yeah, check.
So when your opponent checks back the turn, they probably don't have 9-10 because they might bet. They might not have king 10 because they might bet. So those draws that you're beating on the flop, I don't know if you're beating them really on the river because they might have bluffed. So Artur's basically saying he has a jack or some queen when he checks back. He could also have ace-10. He could also have a pair like 7s to 10s. But when it checks him on the river here, he gets to contemplate if he wants to value bet, which I think he will. This hand is pretty strong. If your opponent 3-bet you with a worse jack, you have basically the next best jack. I doubt he's going to play ace-jack this way, so.
10 seconds.
1.2 million out there,
100,000.
and that looks like a half pot bet from Martirosyan, 600K.
Now there are some potential 9-10, king-10s that might check back the turn to realize all their equity. But I imagine all the ones with a spade maybe you just want to categorize those as bluffs. Boika has no spade, so he has to consider his options. But purely a bluff catching situation for Boika. And look, if Artur gets called here, it's a big pendulum swing. You gotta ask yourself, would Artur bet like 9s or 10s here, pocket 8s? Or is he only betting a jack or a queen here? Because that will change the elasticity of your calling range here on the river. Also depending how many bluffs he has as well.
How much?
10.
Being rushed makes a call.
King jack.
What goes?
Well played there.
Martirosyan taking that pot. A much needed one early on here to kind of stop some of the bleeding. Gets back over 4.1 million, tightening that gap once again. And
my real thoughts on that last hand, Donnie, are pot size on the flop. Ah, okay.
Well, I'm going to give you some thoughts for all the golf fans out there. If you guys want to win a free round of golf with that man on the left of your screen,
Santa Claus,
the legendary John Daly, then head on over to splashsports.com, enter the John Daly Memorial Tournament Contest for your chance. And you can win a free round of golf with John Daly, with Rick Gaiman. There's $25,000 in cash prizes that are up for grabs, plus that opportunity of a lifetime to tee up with those two greats. Again, that's splashsports.com. Get in there before the contest sells out, and it will sell out, as so many of them do on Splash Sports.
John Daly, quite the golf legend, actually.
Oh.
That's probably a really fun round of golf.
Yes.
I feel like he'd be someone who would love poker.
Yeah, yeah. He probably doesn't like losing, though.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Golf's more, I mean, poker's like a game in your own mind, in your own right, but you got to beat other people. Golf is like kind of similar, where it's just you versus you, but you play the field. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see him battle at the tables. Queen 7 stays the best hand. Going to be hard for Artur to win this hand one way or another.
40,000.
The blinds have gone up to 25,000. I think it is 20-minute blinds, so they do go relatively quickly. But when you start with 240 big blinds, there's plenty of play for a very long extended time in this tournament.
Boika makes the call, 4 on the turn.
So when you're in these small bet nodes, Martirosyan could go for another kind of value bet with a 4 here, or obviously check. And if he planned to bet, it would be a small bet to target like ace highs and king highs. But obviously checking makes a whole lot of sense too.
Check, check to see the 10 of clubs compete the board on the river. Check mark goes to Boika. Of course, that does mean that he needs to get to a showdown.
Well said. Notice the hands I would call the flop. 8-9, 9-10, 8-10 have all connected with the river. Your ace highs and king highs and queen highs have not, unless it was king 10 or what have you. But we see even Boika with a 7 comfortable for a value bet here.
65.
65K is the bet.
So again, pot odds work 65K here to win 330K. Your opponent only has to be bluffing. What is that, like 18% of the time? It's probably something a little off that, but now is he bluffing? No, but we can see the cards.
Martirosyan's going to pay him off, and Boika is going to collect this
Seven.
pot of 330,000.
And even though you're beat there, sometimes just getting
Can you
that
please
information
announce 10 seconds?
is worth it.
Thank you.
Not that you have to just follow the standards of pot odds on every hand you play, obviously, but it's a decent parameter for how to think about the game. That's why we have poker fundamentals. For anyone who's learning poker, there are fundamentals that you should follow. They reside in range and assumptions and then mathematical probabilities and calculations, more or less.
Pretty looking queen 10 of spades here for Boika.
60,000.
Comes in with a raise to 60K. Martirosyan makes the call off to a king queen 9 flop.
Check.
We got the banners of all the past WSOP main event champions on the wall in the background there. Boika pondering, decides to check a decent value hand twice. And that might work out for him as Artur has rivered 2-pair himself, playing 8s and 9s with a king kicker. And surely you bet a queen at this period.
Once again, all dealers and players without it holding up the game, please start selling all these 100-unit denomination chips to the chip leader at the table.
90.
90,000 is the bet.
90,000 announced. I believe it was announced because he heard 10 seconds and he's like, okay, I want to get this in. I don't want to burn any more time extensions. But this also tracks for Boika, you know, kind of checking down and then going for the value on the river. We have now seen that either 3 or 4 times in this match, so it definitely seems like an approach that he is going to lean on heavily. And so far, I would say that everything he's been doing has been working because he's up quite a bit. And he's going to get paid off again here.
Yeah, look, he's like, how many king X are you checking back? How many queen X are you checking back? You're not checking a 9 on the turn. So you either have some really delayed queen X here or nothing. So I'll pay you off and I'll see. It's a little bit of a head scratcher for Artur while he takes a sip of water here, readjusts. But we got a match, Donnie. We got a match. Here we see a little temple massage. It is stressful under the bright lights. You've battled through one of the toughest fields of poker. 64 of the toughest heads-up players, and now it's just down to 2. for all the glory, for all the gold, for all the cash.
Forgetting that too.
We play.
This is one of the most prestigious gold bracelets that you can win at the World Series of Poker. You know, this tournament, as Tristan just laid out, attracts some of the absolute best players in the world. Some players strictly play heads up, largely online all year round, but then they come out here and they play this one. You know, it's their Super Bowl in a way. They say, okay, I'm going to come out, I'm going to play that one. You know, you see a lot of these guys get in there and you're like, who is this guy? Who's that guy? You know, but they're these online crushers who specialize in heads up. And if you're able to navigate yourself through a field like that and get down to the end of it and ultimately win it, I mean, that's the top of the top.
240,000 is the bet.
3-bet there from Martirosyan, gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one of the easiest fields to win your bracelet in too. Granted, it's the toughest, you know, lots of very good players, but what do you got to win? You got to win 4 matches to get down here. So, you know, it's a lot harder to beat 20,000 people in one of the, you know, the 5 flight hold'em events compared to having to just win 4 or 5 heads-up matches. But either way, your bracelet still holds its weight in gold, I guess.
Once again, all players as soon as the hand is completed, please make sure you've sold all of your 100-unit denominations to the chip leader at the table. Any hot chips, please leave out.
Also, 25K buy-in.
I mean, it's an incredible tournament.
Yeah,
it really is.
Unreal.
I mean, you heard Artur Martirosyan say before play when he talked with Natalie, he really covets this specific event, this bracelet. You know, Aliaksei has said that, you know, he's been working on his heads-up game specifically over recent times. So I'm sure for him as well, this would be an incredible achievement to be able to win your first bracelet, not only rip off a bracelet, which is incredible in and of itself, but then do so in this tournament is just, you know, the icing on the cake. It is top pair here on the ace-7-4 for Boika. He's going to call the bet from Martirosyan. 3 on the turn.
Now, we didn't see much of Artur having to, you know, barrel off in spots, but he's got a no showdown hand here.
Check.
Okay, and he doesn't really have good properties to keep bluffing. If he had a 4 or 5 or a club, I imagine those would be some candidates where he wants to try to maybe pressure a weaker holding, but instead, Boika's going to get to the river with the best hand and probably just value bet. Yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to tournaments, right, Donnie, you, like, in other tournaments, you fold hands, you sit hands out, like, it is what it is. But in heads up, it's just you versus the other guy. And you should take a lot of credit and prestige for doing really well in a heads up event because, sure, maybe you ran good. I'm sure anyone who wins a tournament had to run good. But to navigate all the intricacies of one-on-one poker, I commend you.
Yeah, I would say in you know, regular tournaments that are 8-9-handed, you can play a little bit tighter on average and kind of just coast through to some degree. Yeah, you're probably going to need to step things up as it gets closer to the finish line. As you mentioned during the semifinal round, also as we heard Patrick Leonard in his bust-out interview echo, there's no hiding in heads up. Like, you have to play. And if you don't play, you're going to just get run over.
Yeah.
And you really have no shot to win. So, you know, you have to bring your game. You can't just sit there and be like, okay, I'm just going to like check. I'll just bet my really good hands, you know, whatever. That's really not how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Especially in this tournament against these types of players, just the elite of the elite. They're not going to give you an inch.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no waiting for aces and kings in this game.
I mean, if you did that, you're
blinded out.
Yeah, that would be nuts. 6-5-4 with a couple of hearts here. Martirosyan's got top pair with a gutter. Boika's got a pair of 4s. He's got the queen of hearts in his hand too. Don't overlook that.
It's a very, very key factor there. But with bottom pair, decides, look, I want to keep the pot small. I want to try to navigate the showdown without putting a lot of chips in there. But Artur might have other plans. I don't know. He doesn't have a whole lot of added equity. He can make a straight with his deuce, with a 3. So maybe he finds that valuable enough to go ahead with a value bet here, and it looks like that's the case.
The bet is 60K here on the turn. Half pot wager.
And again, queen 4 here, you checked back. You're going to call. It's 60K to win 240K when you put that money in the middle. So is your hand good 25% of the time? Yes. Could your opponent be bluffing? Yes. But it's more about just playing your ranges. This is all about a range game right now. We're seeing people play the middle of their range. Both play, you know, Artur with kind of the top to middle of his range, right? Second pair is pretty good. Boika with the stone middle of his range, which is bottom pair. Other middle of range hands are likely like your ace highs, like your low paired hands are your ace highs and king highs. And then obviously ranges converge on the river. So when we see a bet here from Artur, this puts Boika in a tough spot because Artur could be betting a 7 or an 8 as a bluff on the turn. And when the 9 pairs, it's a little less likely that your opponent has a 9, although he would play a 9 like this. So Martirosyan's bets are coming from straights, 6x or 9x, and then all the bluffs that you might imagine. Any 7x or 8x that isn't like an ace high.
I do find this immediate change in posture from Boika interesting and worth pointing out. It tells me that he's never raising. He does make the call there. So I just point that out because if you're in Martirosyan's shoes, it probably makes you feel like you just have the best hand, right? You know, because immediately Boika, who is sitting up, very stiff, very, you know, posture oriented, just kind of like slumps over the table like, okay, like I got to decide if I'm going to try and call this. I have a bluff catcher. And if you're in Martirosyan's shoes, then you're kind of like, okay, I can breathe. Like he's going to call with, you know, a 5, a 4, maybe some ace highs, and I'm going to win this one. And that's exactly what happened there. Martirosyan back over 4 million. It's 5.555 for Boika.
And look, those hands are kind of like somewhat standard, right? Like when someone checks back a kind of strong hand, a pair, like on a 4 on 4-5-6 or a 5 on 4-5-6, and the board runs 9-9. Like those are kind of standard spots. So people might say, oh, what's he doing calling? He should know he's beat. Like it's a math problem, it's a range problem, and you're going to see a lot of people just get to showdown with parts of their range that kind of need to see. If both pairs are playing balanced, then you're going to see some plays like that.
See a little bit of a crowd forming in the background there. There is a $600 no limit hold'em deep stack taking place in this room. There is the day 2 of the 10K Omaha High Low is taking place in this room. So as those tournaments go on break, go ahead.
Also, the final table of the 1500 Dealer's Choice
that is true.
is being
that is
played
true.
right
Yes.
next to these guys.
So there's a lot of action now at Paris and Horseshoe. So as these tournaments go on break, you know, some people will hang around, sweat the action a little bit before they head on back to their respective areas. Ace, Jack, 3. Both players whiffing on this one.
The 8-4 offsuit entering the pot on the button, using that positional advantage, but ends up checking back this ace, Jack 3 flop. Artur with an interesting decision here. His hand's strong enough to check call with queen high, but he could opt to bet and get some weaker hands to fold maybe that he loses to, like a king 5 or something. But he opts to check, which I really like here. You can check call easily and then you can realize your equity and then you have a lot of options on the river. But I imagine if it bricks, he might just take his queen high to showdown. But Boika probably is not going to let that happen because he's only got 8 high, Donnie. So what do? You bet the top of your range and you bet the bottom of your range. And 8-4 here is the bottom, Donnie.
60K bet out of Boika.
All options on the table here for Martirosyan. unlikely your opponent has an ace to check back this flop, so you could come with a raise to pressure all the weaker holdings.
1 second.
330.
300.
There is the raise. And Boika quickly folds that 8 high.
Man, he's so good. I mean, I want to watch a lot more of this guy play, Donnie. I don't know how long this heads-up match is going to go. You know, we only got to see so much in the pads match because he just had value so often. But I'd really love to just watch him play heads-up. I wish I could watch every match that he played because he really just is dialed in. You can tell he has specific bet sizes for certain streets or certain spots. You know, going with his 150% over bet, his 3/4, his half pots, his small bets. And yeah, I would just love to see how he navigates some more spots because it's really interesting.
Ace, king of diamonds here for Martirosyan.
Raise to 75.
Still going with the 2.5x as levels increase as we have hit the 30K big blind.
Boika has a playable queen jack. And he's got 3 betting chips.
Raise to 300,000.
300K.
Artur shifts his posture and says, oh yeah, let's go. I'm putting in a 4-bet. Now, you don't always have to 4-bet in these spots. You could just call, but it's hard not to 4-bet when you just have such a strong holding in.
720.
Your opponent could pile in more money.
20,000.
But again, Donnie, notice the sizing, right? Starts with a 4x. When we start throwing in 4-bets, it's like clicks, 300 to 720.
A similar sort of sizing scheme there as to when earlier Boika was the one doing the 4-betting with the ace-king suited.
The idea there is that the ranges constrict a lot because it's now a 4-bet pot instead of like a 3-bet pot. So you can get away with a smaller size because assumably the same kind of range is going to continue, like a good range. You don't think you're just going to get people in there with queen jack offsuit. But had that been like a queen jack suited in Boika's hand, I think we would have seen a flop.
75,000.
Boika's turn to raise the button. 8-5 off for him, 75K.
300,000.
Martirosyan's going to come with a 3-bet to 300K with 9-8 suited. And we are about as close to even as we have been. First hand was a pretty big one. It went Boika's way. He really stretched out a lead and has maintained the lead ever since then. But Martirosyan has been fighting back in these recent hands.
Yeah.
And we've seen some interesting 3-bets. I mean, kind of playing a heads-up linear strategy. 8-9 suited. We saw a 10-8 offsuit in there. We saw a 7-5 suited. So yeah, interesting to see how this will continue.
75,000.
$10-5. Just on the cusp here, we probably just see that hit the muck.
Not often that you see hands just folded
Yeah.
pre-flop and heads up, especially when these guys are as deep as they are. But
Okay.
He said, hey,
Floor.
I want to go to the bathroom,
Floor.
Floor.
maybe.
We will have short break in 15 minutes, okay? Just let you know.
That's legendary Bob Smith right there.
it is.
Floor guy for WSOP. Saw him earlier today when I was playing the Mystery Bounty.
Sorry.
And he goes, you don't know who I am? I'm fucking Bob Smith. That's what he said. I said, all right, man. I know you.
I love Bob. He's been around forever.
After this level. 5 is
Mine
okay.
is okay.
Oh, yeah.
So there will be a short break coming up here after this level. Don't think we're going to go on a break here. We got the power of a dynamic delay. We can do things like chop things down a little shorter. Tristan and I can just hang out here and chat to you guys, you know, so don't plan on going anywhere.
75,000.
The only thing that you guys should plan on doing is hitting that like button on the YouTube video, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Let's go, boys and girls.
Let's go. Pump it up. We need the likes. We need the subscriptions.
That's right.
We need the PokerGo money.
You need to pump this like Bitcoin, baby. Heck, pump it like a meme coin. I don't care what you do.
There you go. Forget the slow, consistent rise.
No, just drive it to the moon. Like, let's go.
Look at Phil Hellmuth back there. What is that, 1989?
1989.
He won WSOP main event?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
75,000.
I mean, granted, there was only 40 people that played, but kudos, Mr. Hellmuth. Just kidding. It was probably 100. Do you know how many? Donnie, you're like, you know all the WSOP trivia. Do you know how many
I'll
people
say 200,
played?
but I don't even know.
I might take the under in 200. We're looking it up. If anyone in the chat knows, I mean, we'll test your WSOP knowledge there too.
178.
I thought it was something like that.
I was pretty close, though.
You were. I thought I was gonna say 180.
Well, you would have been right. You
I
should
would
have
been
spoke
right.
up.
I should have, but I left it out there for the chat. Okay, another interesting spot here. We got Boika with a bottom range hand going for full pot, and Martirosyan with bottom pair himself. He's going to continue here. Now he's got a little more working here. It's not like he's got like a 5-7. He's got Jack 5, so he can turn a 10. He can turn a king for added equity.
Check.
And let's see how Boika responds in the face of a full-sized pot call on the flop. Now he has picked up equity with a 4, and he has a bottom of range hand. So if he's trying to get a 5 to fold, a bet works. And if he wants a queen to think about folding, a bet might work here. But maybe he just checks to try to drill a 4, 6, or 7.
6.
Overbet, Donnie.
600K announced. Gets the job done.
And that's just playing your advantage, your range advantage, and the use of bet sizing to pressure weak holdings. That's why this is such a great game.
For those who may not have picked up on it yet, the red chips are 5K, the green chips are 25K, and those blue chips are 100K. Those yellow rectangular plaques are time extensions. There is a clock in play. All actions are 30 seconds, and then if you want to extend further, you can use one of the time extensions. I believe each player starts with 6 of them to start the match.
That's
Boika
not a lot of extra time,
no, that's
by
not.
the way.
Boika has already used 2, I believe. Martirosyan, I don't think, has used any. And last match against Patrick Leonard, he used 1 at most, I feel like.
I think he did use 1 on a hand here. I could
Here?
be wrong. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe not. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like he's got 6 there.
I'd fold.
What it was?
7-5 with 1 spade.
All right, guys, Mike's coming in.
You sure it's 6, not 8?
I mean, I'm guessing it's 6.
Okay. Just curious. Rock music. What's this going to be, Donnie?
Your guess is as good as mine. Let's see what pops up on the screen.
PokerGO! Oh, it's
Oh,
Chidwick.
it's Stevie. He's back. And it looks like he's here to tell you that you can win your way to the 2025 Poker Masters. And it is all thanks to Octopi Poker. Just head on over to pokergo.com/winmasters, and that'll take you to the platform for your chance to win. Just complete some very simple social media tasks. You will get entered into a giveaway. A raffle will be had, and you could possibly be coming out to Las Vegas, be coming out to the PokerGo studio, and competing in the opening event of the 2025 Poker Masters. So pokergo.com/winmasters.
You better sign up for that, everybody. Free roll. That's all I got to say.
I can't, because I work for the company.
Right.
I'm ruled out. I believe you can.
I
though.
can?
Yeah.
Wow. I can't do that. I got to let someone in chat win. Wouldn't be right. But Octopi Poker, really cool platform. You can make a free account, check it out. I've used it, I'm a user. Really interesting stuff on there in terms of just poker study.
$110 here on the turn from Martirosyan. Gets it done.
Yeah, you can't see it with that shot, but like Donnie said earlier, there's a tablet on the table that is going to count down the time for these players every hand. And they can see it too. These hands are always the interesting ones. They usually, it's very helpful for the range advantage player, which would be Martirosyan, to win these hands. But starts to go check, check. Not a flop that Artur wants to start betting with, considering he has no real backup besides 6, 7, 8. But also a very tricky spot for ace high to navigate, as we see Boika look back at his holdings.
10 seconds. Check.
And this might be a green light for Artur to start bluffing with a hand that cannot win a showdown, but he checks. Okay, so let's see, Donnie, is he gonna try to find a way to credibly rep like a 6, an 8, or a jack on the river here, or is he just gonna give up with 7 high?
I think he's gonna find a way. I think Martirosyan will always find a way.
Now this is interesting though, Donnie, because when it checks all the way to the river, ace high could assume, hey, maybe I'm good.
75,000.
And with this size, you know how I love to talk about pot odds. 75 to win 300, Donnie. Look at Boika, he's considering cracking knuckles. What should I do? Now these are spots that sometimes deserve a little more thought, but with your time bank running out,
10 seconds.
let's see what he does.
Call.
He does flick in the call. 7 high is shown from Martirosyan. No good against the ace high for Boika.
Great bluff catch there. Great call. There's a tablet we talked about in the middle right there. Thank you, PokerGo Productions, giving us a little shot of that.
$75,000.
And just look at the rail. I mean, you know the 600's on break when the crowd's looking like that. Martirosyan again, linear 3-betting strategy we see. Just if you imagine what the range looks like on value kind of chart from like 8s to 9s, he's kind of 3-betting hands within that space with a little outside extension. But Boika says, look, suited connector in position. Let's go to the streets.
Yeah, suited connector in position. Probably likely that my cards are plenty live as well. So I'm in there. Ooh. And he flops pretty well on the 5 deuce deuce. Boika is open-ended. He's got backdoor spades. In addition, Martirosyan misses. Has 2 overs to the board, backdoor hearts. Let's see how he proceeds. 600,000 is out there worth fighting for.
Now this might be one of those range bet-ish boards.
450.
Right? 5 deuce deuce. Really unconnected, doesn't connect with a lot of your opponent's holdings. But you're also going to get called by a lot of ace highs. There's wheel draws, ace 3, ace 4. There's obviously the pairs, 6s through whatever, maybe up to 10s or jacks or queens even. Could even be some pocket aces, pocket kings, slow play here. I'm not sure. But Boika going to think about either raising or calling. I mean, calling is probably more default here.
Martirosyan came with 75% pot, 450K into 600. Boika makes the call. That puts 1.5 million in the middle, 8 of clubs on the turn.
Now, let me just say this, Donnie. When Martirosyan bets the flop, he doesn't just have plans to give up. He has 10 high in a spot where he knows ace highs and some king queens and stuff is going to call him. So let's see what he does here. He can give up, don't you? Mind you, you know, your opponent's going to have some strong stuff too. I did 3-bet and bet 2/3 pot. But he does concede possibly. Now, if we're speaking on Boika's spot, you only have 4 high. You might want to start bluffing now. And maybe in a spot where you might even want to play for it all.
10 seconds.
So I say big bet here, like 800K, 600K.
750.
There we go, 750.
750K is half pot. That gets a quick fold out of Martirosyan. Boika takes that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we play a couple 3-bet or 4-bet pots, this could be over real quick. Like we saw David Chen, right, in the semifinals. He 4-bet with queen 9, got called by ace 10 of clubs. The flop came king, king, queen, 2 clubs. I think there was a bet and a call. Turn brought the 3 of clubs for a flush. Check, check. River, ace 10 of clubs went all in with the nut flush. And then David Chen hero call with queen 9. You know, you don't have to 4-bet pre-flop with queen 9. Although, once you do and you get that kind of board texture, sure, you beat some bluffs and what have you. But just goes to show how fast heads up can go, how big of pots we can play if we see 3-bets and 4-bets and money getting in.
10 seconds.
Boika does defend here. Brings us to a 9-7-5 flop. Couple of spades out there. Check, check. Deuce of clubs on the turn.
Queen 6 seems like a good candidate to start bluffing, especially with a club. Granted, we see he has the best hand, but it's not really comfortable to navigate this hand any other way. Do you really want to check call the turn with queen 6 here? I don't think so.
Check.
But maybe queen high deemed good enough for showdown,
Check.
which both players are trying to navigate there right now.
It is check, check again. Jack of spades on the end. Boika's 6 does play.
Yes. So just enough hand by both of these players. I talked about range, right? Just enough hand for both these players with queen high to feel comfortable to take it to showdown. Now, will Boika want to bluff here? I don't think so. He doesn't have a spade. So it looks like this is just probably going to go check, check unless Artur has different plans. And he would be getting the best hand to fold if he does bet and Boika does fold.
I mean, this guy doesn't miss a spot. I'm telling you. He doesn't miss a spot. 175K over bet here. And a quick fold out of Boika.
Artur,
Yeah.
Bathroom break, real quick.
we asked to have a break now.
1934.
So these players
Okay.
are going to take a short bathroom break. We're not going to go anywhere, though. We're just going to jam out. We're going to look at Jonathan Tamayo, and I'm going to tell you about Play Poker Go. Fun and free online poker is available now at playpokergo.com. Go deal yourself in. They got ring games, they got sit and goes, they got tournaments. Whatever your fancy is, they have it on playpokergo.com. Available on web, on iOS, and on Android, so you can play from a wide variety of devices. Get in there now on playpokergo.com. I play on there regularly. I like to dabble with the people. If you see me on there,
What's your username on
Brasco, Brasco.
Okay.
If you see me on there, let's go to war. Let's battle. We'll love to mix it up with everyone out there.
Oh, look, that fast? Oh, my gosh.
That's what I
They
said.
better wash their hands,
We got
man.
the power technology here. We
Yeah.
can cut out breaks. We can make things a little bit shorter as we go.
But aside from that, every hand of heads up shown here.
That is 100,000.
$40K big blind now, so blinds are getting up there. Martirosyan with less than 100 bigs.
10-6 deuce. Martirosyan pulls ahead with a pair of sixes despite being dominated pre. Boika is wrapped around that 10 with his jack-9, although no diamonds are present.
And that is a big factor here, Donnie, with the jack-9. You'd really would like a little backdoor backup with it. So nice to see a check.
And there's a 9 on the turn, which could be troublesome for Boika. Martirosyan improves to 2 pair. Boika improves to what is a second best pair of 9s.
And do we need to talk about some WSOP history that happened this year? Suck me 6-9? Come on, suck me
Yes.
6-9?
Second place in the industry employees event, goes through the entire process up into the final table on the WSOP Plus app with his username as SuckMe69. That is why Tristan is making that reference. He's not just coming out here with any sort of derogatory language or anything. That was an actual thing that happened.
And not only that, the guy gets heads up. They make him change his name to his real name on the app. When he gets three-handed, he gets heads up, and he goes all in with 6-9 offsuit and almost beats ace-queen. He flops a 6, almost beats ace-queen. The queen turns. So the 6-9 is very interesting. It has its own place of WSOP history this year. And Martirosyan keeping the 6-9 strong here, Donnie. It's winning. Now, these are spots where your opponent should be bluffing. 7x, 8x, hearts,
750.
maybe some like Jack X stuff. And so what does Martirosyan do? He goes huge, knowing that he's going to have bluffs. And Boika with the bluff catcher now doesn't block some of the bluffs.
125% pot here. And also note that, you know, we've seen overbets as bluffs. Now we are seeing a similar overbet with value. These guys, as they always are when they're this good, they are so balanced that it's really just like kind of, look at that's a good fold.
Very good fold.
Boika gets out of the way.
That's also one of the strongest hands Boika is going to have when he checks back the turn and doesn't improve to 2-pair. Like a good 9. So yeah, very disciplined fold there. And a nice hand. Still anybody's match. I mean, we got 100 bigs in play. There's only an extra 30 big difference between the two. I still favor Martirosyan right now as it stands for whatever that's worth. That's my own sense. I just feel like he's maybe a little more versed, maybe a little more studied, but his aggression also might nip him in the butt like we saw on that first hand of ace-10 versus jack-7. But obviously Boika's made it this far, so I'm sure he's no slouch. I mean, the guy's got over $5 million in live MTT earnings. Playing all the high-stakes stuff as of late, so I'm sure he's very studied and he's ready for this moment as well. But I mean, how can you bet against this guy? That's all I gotta say, Donnie. Like, I obviously know his resume, but doing more research today on him, I'm just like, God damn, this guy is like underrated, bro. Like, I see him everywhere, just crushing everything. And even online, like he finishes a Triton and he plays online, he wins a bunch. I'm just like, man.
Well, I'm going to add a little bit of fuel to your fire, and I'm going to tell you who Martirosyan got through.
Oh, geez, let's
to
hear
get
this.
to this final table, or this final round. First, he beat Jeremy Osmus.
Easy.
Then he beat Faraz Jaka. Then he beat Kevin Rabichow, one of the
Wow,
absolute best heads-up players in
right?
the world. Then he beat Chance Kornuth.
Tough.
Then, of course, as we saw earlier today, he defeated Patrick Leonard. So if that's not a murderer's row of opponents, I don't know what is.
What about the bracket for Boika? Let's hear that.
I'm looking that up right now.
Cool.
You know, I got to obviously look that up one as well. So he topped Matthew Belcher in the first round. Belcher is, I believe, a Triton guy, so no slouch there. Steven Song in the second round. Then Brandon Brown. I'm unfamiliar with Brandon Brown, but he beat Brandon Brown in the third round. Harvey Castro, who is very young, has had a lot of success in the studio. I believe he took second in the heads-up tournament down at Seminole recently. Young kid, very, very good. And then, of course, we saw Aliaksei Boika defeat David Chen. David Chen, another super young wizard in the semifinal round. So I would say less brand names for Boika. I'm assuming all these guys are crushers in their own right, of course. I mean, they're in the 25K heads-up for a reason. You know, but if you want to go on name brand power, you know, Martirosyan got through some of the absolute best players in the world, household names for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. 3-bet there, takes it. The queen 10 suited. We just see an ace hit the muck.
Something earlier on the first stream that we did today that you asked me about, you know, what's my favorite thing about the WSOP? What's happening here is one of the things that I will point to. This kind of brought it fresh in my memory. You get people like Aliaksei Boika, he's having his breakout moment on the biggest stage. And like from now going forward, he's a name. He's a personality, he's a player, and people can tune in and they'll be like, oh, I watched that guy. Let's say he goes on to beat Martirosyan. I watched him beat Artur Martirosyan, one of the best in the game. Maybe I didn't know who Boika was ahead of this event, but now I know. I liked his style. He was even-keeled. He was super strong. This is great. So when I see him, you know, later on in a tournament, you're like, okay, that's who that was. Like, I always like the jumping-off point that the WSOP has. And it doesn't matter if it's a $600 tournament at the WSOP or the 25K heads-up. Like, you guys, you could have all these players have their breakout moment on the biggest stage, and that is one of the absolute best things about the World Series of Poker every single year.
Well said. Come out here, make a name for yourself. It could be in any event. It could even be getting seconds in the employees event. Suck me 6'9".
Yeah. I mean, maybe he made the wrong name for himself, but
I actually played with him the other day, and he said he didn't even realize that was his name on the thing. He just made some weird name, and then it was showing up in the app. So that wasn't by design, and he did not feel good that hafpened to him. But that's his story.
Well, unfortunately, he is now forever.
Yeah,
Suck me 69.
yeah.
That's just how it is.
I mean, that's just hilarious. Because it's also hilarious because the WSOP is just getting their app off the ground.
Yeah.
And then they're letting people use a nickname or their real name, which we could argue they should just let everyone be real names. But then this guy in the first event of using this at this WSOP in the employees event, he just has the audacity to have this weird, funny name and then get heads up and then play the 6'9" offsuit. Yeah, I mean, that's just WSOP history. It will go down.
It's tremendous stuff.
It's etched in history. And those are the little stories, too, like, aside from winning, that, like, right, you hear of the guy taking his pants off and peeing on the table in the main event years ago. Did you hear about that one?
Yes.
Okay, right,
yes.
okay.
And there we see the road to the finals for Aliaksei Boika.
Yeah, there's always just history. There's always goofiness. There's always, like, rumors and gossip around WSOP. So it's funny to kind of relish in some of it.
So players did have to get through. That looks like Greg Popovich on the rail right there.
Let's go.
Players had to get through five matches in order to make it to this final round here. Guaranteed $300,000, playing for a first place prize of $500,000. Also, the World Series of Poker gold bracelet. And notice how Boika's got his time extension chips or plaques stacked over there. He's got 4 left.
1500 small, 3000 big, 3000 big line in. 1533, shuffle up the deal. Registration is now closed for this event.
That is 100,000.
Raise to 100K from Boika. Gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, this is for it all, Donnie. Like, this is everything these guys have played for over the last few days, culminating to this moment right here. We are one-on-one. We've bested everybody else in the field. Who is going to make WSOP history and win a gold bracelet?
100,000.
Martirosyan's turn to make it 100K. Queen 4 off. Not in the calling range for Boika.
Interesting, but facing a 2.5x. Okay, noted.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Got a dealer change here. Which means it's promo time. And I was told that the track name is Bomb Squad. And you know who hits bombs? That guy right there, John Daly. For all the golf fans out there, Splash Sports is giving you a shot to win a free round of golf with John Daly and Rick Gaiman. Just enter the John Daly Memorial Tournament contest on splashsports.com and you could have a chance. $25,000 in cash prizes are up for grabs, as well as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to tee it up with those legends. Splashsports.com, get in there before the contest sells out. And even if that contest sells out and you don't get in, there's plenty of contests on splashsports.com. So highly encourage you guys to check it out.
Raise to 100.
Ace deuce for Martirosyan. Jack 8 for Boika. Boika did raise pre-flop. Martirosyan called 7-5 deuce.
I feel like players are being very selective in their aggression.
Check, check, 5 of hearts, pairing the board on the turn.
Heads up, a very tricky game.
Archer
Quarter
comes
pot.
with 50K.
Yeah, very small. But reads the situation well, knows he got a value bet and wants to deny some equity in case his opponent has a heart. But a heart wouldn't have folded to a 50K bet.
You guys can take a look at the leaderboard at the top of your screen for the updated chip counts presented by Oats Overnight. Boika 5.34 million, Martirosyan 4.26 million. These players both started with 4.8 million. Boika took the lead on the first hand, and he has had the lead ever since. You know, Martirosyan did close the gap almost to even, but couldn't quite pull things to even, and then Boika started to stretch back out again. Martirosyan here raising 2.5x with ace 10 of clubs. The hand that Boika defeated David Chen with in the last round.
And look, another 3-bet spot with one of these suited connectors. And this one is probably going to go to a flop. I think ace 10 suited really likes to play in position here.
The ace 10 suited does call, so 800,000 in the middle. Ace 10 10. Just
Okay.
a full house on the flop for Martirosyan.
This doesn't bode well for Boika unless he turns the 9 of hearts or 7 of hearts. Those are literally the only 2 cards that he can connect with in the deck to pull out a victory here. Now, when you 3-bet a spot like this and your opponent calls, they hit this. They have some, well, whatever. They have a lot of stuff, right? They have any pair. They have broadways. They have suited aces. So, I mean, when you start betting here and you get called, you probably just have an escape plan. So I don't think Boika is going to lose a whole lot of money in this hand with 8-6 suited. But like your opponent has a 10, they have an ace, they have queen jack, queen king. Obviously the range is a lot wider than that. It can just be suited kings, small pairs and such. But when you get to the turn with this week of a holding, you're probably not doing much except giving up.
4 of spades on 4th Street. 1.2 million in the middle.
There's just no good properties in Boika's hand to want to keep bluffing. You don't block the best ace kings, ace queens, ace jacks from your opponent. You don't have a spade for added equity. You basically have a nothing burger, and it's really hard to just blast away with a nothing burger.
Boika does come with a check.
And now, if you're Martirosyan, you get to do whatever you want, Donnie. You don't have to bet this. You can just check. You've already got it locked up. But obviously, if you want to try to get all the money in, you start with a bet here with whatever size.
10 seconds.
480.
480,000 is the bet.
And just like that, I think we're back to even.
480,000 was the bet on the end from Martirosyan. It goes uncalled, and he takes the chip lead ever so slightly, but notable because he is out in front now, and there is the road to the finals that Martirosyan had to go through, as we outlined a few minutes ago. Osmus, Jaka, Rabichow, Kornuth, and Patrick Leonard to get here to the finals. He is facing Aliaksei Boika. Both players guaranteed $300,000. $500,000 is up top for the winner. How about we do a little roll call here for those of you guys in the chat, whether you're watching on PokerGo.com or if you're watching on the PokerGo YouTube channel. Let us know where you are watching from. Something that I like to do. Tristan, you've never been a part of this. My thing, you remember back in the day you used to go online, I mean maybe you didn't, but whatever. You used to go online, go into chat rooms, you see ASL, age, sex, location.
Yeah, I
right?
know, yep.
So my thing is I want your location,
400,000.
I want the weather, and I want the beverage you're drinking.
All right.
Okay, that's what we do in the chat. So let me know where you're watching from, let me know what the weather is, and then let me know what you're drinking. That's how we do things here.
10 seconds.
LBW or
Yeah, sure.
LWB?
LWB.
Location,
The
weather,
regulars
beverage.
in the chat know. The regulars in the chat know.
Okay, meanwhile, we have a 3-bet pot, a pair versus a suited Broadway hand.
These are two very big hands in heads-up play. Ace, king, queen with a single heart, 2 diamonds. Boika flops best here. He's got top pair. He's got a very good kicker. He's got backdoor nut hearts. As you say, 60% of a royal.
That's good.
Check.
Martirosyan checking with those 8s.
Let's see how Boika responds here, playing in position, 3-bet pot. I mean, his hand is worthy of value here, but will he want to check it? You know, he can start getting paid by a worse ace or a king possibly, or even like a queen jack type hand, queen 10 type hand. But let's see, you know, we've seen him check. Yeah, so kind of interesting. We've seen him be a little passive in these spots, but obviously you don't want to get check raised here by king queen or ace king or a set of queens or something, jack 10 even. So it does go check check. What we got on location? We got people drinking anything nice? Hopefully some ice in the beverages.
Yeah, I mean, I paused because I thought this hand could develop into more, of course, with these holdings, but it looks like things
Yeah.
are slowing down.
Martirosyan kind of has a bottom of range hand after this flop. I don't think we're going to see him want to put chips in, really. That's why I queued you up again,
Yeah,
Donnie.
no, of
'cause-
course.
Yeah.
We got Eastchester, New York, cool with a chance of winning, and he's drinking a seltzer. Sacramento, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, drinking tea. Hawaii, perfect weather as always, drinking a
course.
water. Alabama says even hotter, and then drinking tap water.
Hold up, Donnie. Somehow Boika checks twice with ace-10 of hearts and lets Martirosyan get there.
Well, this is what we've seen this many times already from Boika. Checking flop, checking turn, right? And then he would go for value on the river.
I get it.
This time, though, it's going to come back to bite him because Martirosyan does hit that 8 of diamonds on the end, improving to his set. He now has the best of it here.
800.
And look, he just comes with full pot because why not? You don't have much. And you don't win, Boika, but that's going to hurt because he knows that he could have bet the flop or bet the turn there.
Ace-10 it was.
A quick show there from Boika. Martirosyan confirming that it was ace-10 as he collects the biggest pot that he's won in this match, and he's now up over 6 million.
I mean, he only showed that hand because he thought he was winning. He wouldn't have showed. So a little information that he gave up that he might not have to give up there.
On 25.50.
And note this, players saying, wow, we have to jump up from 2040 to 3060. That's a big, big jump there, Donnie.
That is a big jump, and it hurts a little more when you're Aliaksei Boika now because you just lost that pot. You know, if you win that pot, if you're the one in the lead, you're like, okay, it's not so bad for me. It's worse for the other guy. But Martirosyan is the one that's feeling good.
140.
And he's feeling better now that he finds ace queen off. Makes it 140,000, and Boika's got ace 8 in the big blind.
A little needle here from your side card. You looked at the ace of spades, and then you look at the 8, which you just got rivered against for trips. Are we going to see a 3-bet here or a call?
5.
Donnie.
500,000 is the 3-bet amount from Boika.
Now, Boika's only playing about 60 or so big blinds. I don't know if this is going to be peaceful.
All in.
And there is the jam from Martirosyan. A quick fold from Boika. And just like that, Martirosyan has just stretched out to better than a 2-1 chip lead. He's up over 6.5 million. Boika's now right around the 3 million mark. And it can change that fast in heads up. For 98% of this match, it was Aliaksei Boika winning everything, having the chip lead. Even when Martirosyan would try and win a couple pots, Boika would just lay the hammer down once again and stretch that back out that lead. But then that hand when he went check flop, check turn, he allows Martirosyan to hit the 8 on the river. That costs him a big one. And then there, not that you can fault him there for 3-betting the ace-8, right? But still, it's just the tide is turning, and it's all shifting to Martirosyan.
Yep. I mean, that was a 2.4 million chip pot at the end because there was 800K to the river. We had an 800K bet and then an 800K call. That's a big swing given that Boika probably just bet the flop or turn and won the pot.
180.
Yeah, wow.
180,000.
And now we see the first limp of the match as we enter 50 big blind territory. And Boika, with a deep breath, he's going to have to readjust. Look, Donnie, we talk about this in the last match. We were talking about this as long as heads-up play exists. It's swingy. You know, I love the Roger Federer quote. He won 81% of his single matches by only winning 54% of his points.
Here we take a look at the chip denominations currently in play. 5,000 for the Reds, 25K for the Greens, and 100K for those Blues. Trying to win every single chip on the table. That's the goal here today, so you can walk away with the gold bracelet and $500,000. Right now it is Artur Martirosyan with the sizable chip lead. Leaderboard at the top of your screen is presented by Oats Overnight. the official protein-packed breakfast of PokerGO. If you're looking for a quick way to have some breakfast, get healthy, I would highly encourage you checking out oats overnight. And it's even better that it was started by a poker player, Brian Tate. Nice looking ace queen suited here for Boika on the button.
Raise 125.
Min raise, nearly. Just fine.
Martirosyan comes along with king 3. Queen 7-6, 2 hearts.
Check.
Surely, Donnie, we are not checking back hands this strong. But also these players might be waiting till 20 seconds into the shot clock to make their
175.
decisions.
175.
175K announced. Quick fold from Martirosyan.
So we saw Artur with the lead against pads, and he just kept the pedal to the floor. Let's see his strategy, if it adapts at all, now that he's up 2-1 in chips. Playing 110 big blinds versus 50 big blinds now. Will we see some passivity? Will we see just more aggressive?
Call.
And look, a limp with an ace on the button.
Boika checking his option with the 9-5 off. Comes queen 10-3 rainbow.
Check. Check.
Even though Boika picks up a straight draw here, your opponent can have some king X and ace X. So I don't know if you really want to dabble with bluffing here, although you do have a spade. And I think Artur's fine taking this to showdown with his current holding.
Check.
Check, check once again. 4 of clubs on the end. Martirosyan does improve to a pair of 4s.
And there are spots where you just see bottom of range check down. I think Boika might consider it here.
Check.
And same with Artur. I mean, you block some of the hero calls. You could get called by a 3 or a worse 4. But, you know, he might just check here. If not a check, a small bet.
60.
60K, the minimum wager.
Team's bottom pair, nut kicker, good enough, sure.
Ace 3 here on the button for Boika. He's working with just shy of 3 million in chips, so
Raise 125.
right around 50 big blinds. Makes it 125. Martirosyan defends with 10 deuce suited. Ace, queen,
Check.
10. Both players do connect to the pair. Boika maintains his lead. He's got top pair.
How's he want to proceed? Top pair, Very good holding and heads up when ranges are so wide.
Bet 80,000.
Artur here, standard to call with bottom pair and a backdoor draw. Also, your outs are kind of clean. A deuce doesn't interact with the board, so you're pretty happy if you turn a deuce, a club, or a 10, obviously.
King of hearts on the turn.
Check.
Likely to slow down both players here. Boika's betting would come from 2 pairs, straights, and then some bluffs. His checking is going to call from all of his middling stuff, which is like his ace X, his king X, his queen X.
10 seconds. Check.
Check, check here, heading to the river. It is the 8 of clubs.
So this is where I would just go into a whole spiel about range and how you don't need to bluff with some hands. But maybe Artur says, look, I don't think my 10 has enough showdown value. I'm going to bluff someone off a queen or a king or an ace here potentially. But, you know, here we go.
This looks like it's about to be another overbet.
Bet 520,000.
It is 520 into 410. Artur really trying to put the pressure
I mean,
on
this
a lot
is
of
just
the one
sick,
pair type
Donnie.
of hands
This
for Boika.
is sick. This guy just doesn't miss a spot, like you said. I mean,
He doesn't miss a spot, and if he smells blood in the water, he goes for it, right? Like you said, he could have taken the option, okay,
10 seconds.
I have some showdown value, I'll just check back. You know, I beat like 6s, stuff like that. But I'm going to just apply the pressure.
and look, Boika, he knows.
Oh.
He flicks in the call. He knows. He goes, look, I know you could be turned to some junk into a bluff here. I'm going to look you up.
10.
10. Great call there by Boika. That is like phenomenal. Phenomenal call there. I mean, because Artur has to be turning a 10 into a bluff there. He has to be turning maybe a weak queen into a bluff there for that call to make any sense. I mean, you can maybe discount all the ace kings, ace queens, ace jacks, you know, from Artur's range, but still, he has all the offsuit jack X, all the suited jack X. He has all the other ace X there. And all the other broadways and stuff. So, I mean, phenomenal play from both players there, and Boika gets the best of Artur. Finally.
Yeah, I don't think you can really fault Martirosyan on the end for betting his hand as we did. But sometimes you just got to, you know, tip your cap, tap the table, nice hand. You know, you got me on that one. And for Boika, maybe a little bit of wind in his sails now. He has been losing, and Martirosyan's been really stretching out the lead. So it must feel good inside to be able to win that one. You make a good call, a tough call at that, and you're able to kind of close that gap a little bit. So this one's far from over.
Yeah, that feels good. That one feels good. Especially-
Martirosyan makes it 130 on the button with 8 deuce suited. Boika calls 6-4. Queen 7-5, open-ended for Boika.
With a heart. Those are little key nuances when you're playing heads up because ranges are so wide.
Check.
That would have been a great candidate to check raise if Artur bet. But instead, we now get some showdown value with third pair in a pair of 6s.
The 6 on the turn gives Boika a pair. He also is open-ended, although to the low end. Martirosyan picks up open-ended as well.
And this is a great check by Boika because he has a good hand, but he doesn't want to face a whole lot of heat. And I'm going to tell you right now, Donnie, you know what's going to happen right here.
Hey, the heat's coming.
The heat's coming. I have 8 high, but I'm 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm piling in money here, probably. That's my assumption.
180.
100.
There you go, 180 into 260 from Martirosyan.
And this is a comfortable call, right? The flop went check, check. Now, there is going to be some Queen X in Martirosyan's range. There's going to be some 7X. There could even be some 8-9, by golly. But you're kind of comfortable here with your 6 because you have that 4, 5, 6, 7 backup.
10 seconds.
And you block hearts, which is a factor.
Put on the one red.
All right, Donnie. What's the
Boika
river going
comes
to bring
along,
us with?
620 out there. Very important river card here. It is the ace of hearts.
Check.
Now, Donnie, GTO strategy. You find yourself on the river. You have a hand that can never win. You should bluff. But Artur just gives it up. Too good.
6.
Check, check, and that 6 is going to win for Boika. So 2 in a row here, and he's back up to just shy of 4 million.
And maybe right there is a great example of how the best of the best don't do too much. He didn't have a heart in his hand. He had the spades. He just said, oh, I got check. I can't win. You win.
Well, if you want to win, you could win a seat to the PGT $1 Million Championship and play in poker's most exclusive event. Enter for free at pgt.com/gleam. The URL is on your screen right now. The event takes place at the PokerGO studio at the end of the PGT season. You could be alongside those guys, Daniel Negreanu or Jeremy Osmus, competing for a $1 million prize pool. Completely free to enter, guys. pgt.com/gleam. Go there, secure your giveaway entries.
140.
140.
More free money being given away by PokerGO.
Yeah, you know, lots of free opportunity here.
Take advantage, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and then sign up for this free stuff. Okay, Artur with
540.
another hand that could see the 3-bet, and it does. I mean, just a pure linear strategy here. We haven't really seen much deviation.
Raise 140.
Martirosyan makes it 140K on the button with 8-7 off, and Boika, we don't know his hand just yet, but looks like he's got. Oh,
Yes.
I was gonna say this.
Yeah,
You
I
can
was
tell.
gonna say the same
You
thing.
can tell he's ready to have something, and he's got aces.
I was going to say the same thing, Donnie. We both picked up on it.
525.
Not
There is the 3-bet 525K, and Martirosyan quickly gives it up.
Donnie.
You knew it was coming, right? I mean, not that you think it's aces, but you're like, oh, he's probably
He's got
ace,
something good
ace
hand.
king,
Yeah, good
ace
hand.
queen, whatever it is. 3-bet is coming.
Look, guys, that's a prime example of body language. There's definitely something given off there that we knew he was strong and we knew he was going to 3-bet. I mean, those things are real things to think about at the poker table. There was just pure confidence in that decision and the thought that was happening.
Martirosyan gonna take a minute there, clean off his shades. Both players electing to wear sunglasses here. Could be, of course, you know, they want to protect any possible tells. It could also be as simple as, listen, it is bright up there on the feature tables. You got lights coming in from all different angles, so it helps your eyes quite a bit.
140.
140K here on the button for Martirosyan. Queen 5 suited, and Boika finds an ace.
Call.
He makes the call.
Check. Check.
Checks through to the turn. Another duck here.
Check.
600 deep side players, dealers, complete hand. You're on next hand, 2,000 small, 4,000 big, 4,000 big blind handed. 244 next hand.
Check, check again. We get another board pair, this time with a 10. So 10s and deuces on board. Boika's got the best of it with ace high.
So this is actually a spot where you could value bet your ace high, hoping that someone calls you with a king or a queen or a jack or whatever, because you assume that you have a lot of nothing hands that check down here too. So if he had a hand that couldn't win, like 9-4,
200,000.
so it's a very savvy bet. And Martirosyan with the considerate spot. He could call here with queen high. Now you might say, well, if my opponent had clubs or diamonds, they might bluff the turn. So maybe you could rule out half of those bluffs. But still, this is reasonable pot odds.
700.
But Donnie,
I mean, this guy just always seems to find it. Raised to 700K from Martirosyan.
he knows that Boika just can be value betting an ace here. He doesn't think he has a 10. But what 10s does Artur have? He'd have to have checked the deuce or a 10 back twice. And Boika might be able to see through this. Honestly, it might take a time bank or two. Let's see if he's going to give this thought, and he doesn't. And wow, that just shows the power of aggression in No Limit Hold'em.
Best hand hits the muck there, and Martirosyan is back up over 6 million with that pickup.
I'm talking about he could call here, Donnie. No, what the hell am I talking about? He can raise and just win the pot. Forget calling and losing to ace high. I'm going to raise and get you to fold ace high. And again, I don't know what the computer would say there, but I just really question how often a 10 or a deuce is checking to the river. And yeah, crazy.
If you would like to watch everything from the 2025 World Series of Poker, then pick up a PokerGo.com subscription. Don't forget to use promo code WSOP25YT when you sign up for an annual plan, because that's going to save you $20 off your first year. Also, all annual subscribers will get entered in to win a dream seat to compete in the PGT $1 Million Championship. That promo offer is good for new subscribers. It is also good for current monthly and quarterly subscribers who want to upgrade to annual. So PokerGo.com. Sign up today. Let's go.
And I will say one last thing about that last hand. Your opponent could effectively raise a 7 or like pocket 8s, pocket 9s on the river if they played one of those hands to try to get value from like an ace high or something. But that's the only other anecdote there.
700.
700,000 is the bet.
Martirosyan comes with a 3-bet here, makes it 700K after Boika made it 185. Blinds are up to 40,000, 80,000.
I mean, this is gonna go fast. And look, Boika entering the pot with the queen 10. 110 left in the deck. 33% for Boika in position, but he will not realize all that equity possibly if he doesn't get to the river.
King 5-4, 2 spades present. 10s holding so far for Martirosyan, 1.4 million in the middle.
That is 350,000.
350 from Artur.
Getting a good price, you're in position. You have a spade in your hand. You could turn in equity with a jack, with a 9, with an ace, with a queen or a 10 immediately, of course. Is that enough to see a turn card here?
It is for Boika. He is in there. 2.1 million now in the middle. Deuce of clubs on the turn, and keep an eye on Boika's stack. He's got 2.5 million. That's the effective stack these guys are playing, and that is getting very close to the pot size.
How does Martirosyan want to proceed? Gets called on the flop. Now you can rule ace-king out of your opponent's range.
That is 700,000.
Third pot here from Martirosyan, 700K. A look back at his hand from Boika. Says no thank you. Martirosyan now over 7 million in chips. Almost a 3-to-1 lead over Boika as Martirosyan looks to seal the deal and secure his third WSOP gold bracelet.
Doing a little counting here. Oh, 7 million. Nice. Only 2.5 million left to acquire.
That is 160,000.
Min raise from Martirosyan on the button. Boika finds a queen deuce offsuit.
Now notice before we saw the queen 4-0 hit the muck to a 2.5x, but we see the queen deuce off be defended for one big blind. As your stack gets shallower, it's easier to realize equity. In a sense, when you get shorter, like 20 bigs, it's easier to realize equity. But yeah, heads up, you just got to battle.
King 9-9.
Check.
Check, check. 4 diamonds on the turn. Now the presence of 2 diamonds in addition to those 2 hearts that were on the flop.
Looks like things are getting a little hot in here, man.
$240.
240,000.
Martirosyan comes with 240K there on the turn and takes it down. Coming up tomorrow on PokerGO, the plan right now, of course, things could change. Things are always kind of shape-shifting here at the WSOP, but the plan is to do the final table of the Mystery Millions tournament. More than 19,000 entries in that tournament. They gave away $2 million bounties. There is a $1 million first place prize. There was a ton of players that came back today. That's why I say subject to change. But the plan is for the final table of the WSOP Mystery Millions tomorrow. But that is airing on PokerGO and on PokerGO exclusively.
10 seconds.
So if you are now watching on the PokerGO YouTube channel or elsewhere that is not PokerGO.com, know that tomorrow's stream is going to be on PokerGO. So that promo that I just read to get you guys signed up, go sign up, because that's how you're going to get full access to everything that's happening, and it starts tomorrow on PokerGO with the final table of the Mystery Millions tournament.
See a smaller 3-bet size here to a 3x, given the reduction of stack sizes. Boika playing sub 30 big blinds now. And Artur just keeping up the aggression, stacking chips, watching his lead grow. He can almost taste WSOP victory in 2025. Boika, not the kind of player to go silently, though, Donnie.
No, of course not. And you know, I know he's shorter than Martirosyan was, but as we saw with Martirosyan, it can change almost instantly. It was like 2 hands, boom, Martirosyan's got a fairly big lead. So things can swap here very quickly. Let's say Boika's able to win a pot. Let's say he's able to double, right? I mean, he could have the lead. You know, it can just go boom.
Oh, yeah.
That fast.
It's easy. If it's a double, we're right back in it.
Couple of 4s here for Martirosyan, a Jack-8 offsuit for Boika. Comes Jack 9-3, so top pair for Boika.
80,000.
Martirosyan's going to come with 80,000 here, half pot.
Which is just one big blind.
Yep. And this was limped pre. Martirosyan limping the button, Boika checking his option.
Could play some check raises here with your decent Jack X top pair. But we just see a check call.
10 of spades on the turn.
Check.
Now open-ended for Boika in addition to that top pair.
Check.
Third jack here on the end for Boika.
Did call a flop bet. The 10 has interaction with the jack and 9, right? So if Boika has a 3, let's say, would he really bet this river? So I think this is a spot where we're probably going to see Artur make an easy fold in his mind. Since your opponent can have every jack, they can value bet a 9 or a 10 in this fashion too. But let's see, Donnie.
The bet is 225, and Martirosyan takes only a couple seconds there before he gives it up. That pot was on the smaller side, yes, but all chips are important, and they're even more important when you're on the shorter side of things, so you can start increasing your stack, which Boika does there.
Oh, baby, these are really big hands, 30 bigs.
King, queen suited here for Boika. He's on the button.
Bet is 160.
Makes it 160. Now it's Martirosyan's turn, looking like he's got something.
Yeah. Ooh.
A6, okay.
Okay, again, there is some all-in stuff.
And there it is.
Donnie.
He goes all in.
Now remember, in the other
And Boika
broadcast,
calls.
we talked about this. King, queen suited calls for 30 bigs. And look at this. No way. A6 offers king, queen suited for it all.
Martirosyan 54% here. Currently has the best of it, but this is very much a flip up against the king, queen suited for Boika. If the ace-6 holds, Martirosyan is the champion. If not, we are going to fight on.
And look at this, Donnie. After all this, we're just going to play a huge coin flip for a starting stack in this final match.
King, queen, 7. A massive flop for Boika, top 2 pair.
It's never over till it's over, Donnie. We do see the ace of diamonds working here for Artur.
4 of diamonds.
It's TV table.
It is the TV table, guys.
Never easy.
Always a sweat.
Wow.
Martirosyan's looking for a diamond. He's got 9 outs to secure his 3rd WSOP gold bracelet.
Wow.
And it is the 9 of diamonds.
No way. Unbelievable.
Runner, flush for Artur Martirosyan. And he takes down the 2025 WSOP $25,000 buy-in heads-up championship event, his 3rd World Series of Poker gold bracelet. He also collects $500,000.
That adds to his $25 million in lifetime earnings. He was
That's
41st in the money all-time money list. I don't know if that moves him up past 40, but wow, congratulations. Very well played.
And now you can smile, sir. I know you've been poker-faced this whole time, but smile it up. And we got Natalie Bodie to chat with him.
Congratulations, Artur. You said it was one of your favorite events, right?
Yeah.
Days of grueling heads-up play leads to this moment. What was it that allowed you to outlast your opponents?
We had very interesting match. So he played good, but I was a bit more lucky. Had a little bit more experience, so yeah, I'm happy to win it.
You mentioned that you were going to be happy if it were to happen. Now it officially has World Series of Poker bracelet number 3. What's your reaction to acquiring your 3rd and getting into that rare air with other greats?
You know, I have a lot of titles, but WSOP bracelet is special. Yeah.
All
I
right,
don't know what to
well,
say.
on behalf of the World Series of Poker, it is my honor to present to you World Series of Poker bracelet number 3. Go ahead and hold it up to that camera there. Once again, congratulations.
And there you have it. Artur Martirosyan comes out on top of the $25,000 heads-up championship here at the 2025 World Series of Poker. For Tristan Wade, my name is Donnie Peters. Tomorrow on PokerGo.com, it is the final table of the Mystery Millions. Don't miss it, and we'll be with you all summer long. It's been a pleasure, everyone. Take care.